Well, hi guys, I'm Michael Hausam. Welcome to the Fix My Realtor Buyer and Seller Workshop. So interesting, not everybody who signed up showed up today, but you guys did, and I appreciate it, and it tells me a lot. Also, about half of the folks that registered took the real estate readiness assessment that I've got. And so I definitely know there are some areas where a lot of improvement is needed. And that's part of what's going to happen here today. So you're here because you're thinking about buying a house or selling one, or maybe both. And on the home buyer side, your goal is super simple. Get the right house at the absolute lowest price possible. And then on the seller side, it's flipped. Your goal is to get the absolute maximum price possible. So today I'm going to give you a framework and some very practical things for how to do both of these. Now, there are two essentials for achieving each goal. The first aspect is to avoid costly mistakes. Costly mistakes are how you as a seller or a buyer lose money. Things that you did that you should not have done. So that looks like the cost of the mistakes. That's this. Losing money. And then, by the way, all these notes that I'm taking, I will send you a copy of all of this afterwards. So then the second aspect is to pursue opportunities. To successfully capitalize on opportunities is how you actually make money. And these are doing the things that you should do, so it's the exact opposite. This one here is the costly mistakes. That one there is the opportunities that you want to take advantage of. So my guess is that you're here because you're not absolutely certain about how to go about either of these things, what not to do and what to do. Or maybe you're just wondering if what you know right now is actually good enough. Or maybe you're thinking, hey, you know what? If I just find the right real estate agent, they're going to help me. So if this describes you, then you're actually in the uncomfortable position right now of just kind of hoping and guessing. And that is uncomfortable, but you're in the right place. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to move from this uncomfortable position of hoping and guessing to get to certainty. So that is the goal, is to go from fear and concern at whatever level to certainty about the money. And a key point is, with what I am going to be talking to you about here, it does not matter if you have a real estate agent or not, or if you plan to never use one at all. So this is whether or not realtor or not right now, okay? The whole point of this workshop is to equip you. You are the central topic so that you know what should and should not be happening with certainty. So this is the whole point, to equip you, okay? Also, you're not going to find or hear this information anywhere else. The amount of money involved here is probably going to be the largest financial transaction of your life, whether you're buying or selling a home. So let's talk about those numbers first, because that is probably terrifying to you. If I were in your shoes and didn't know what I know today, that would be absolutely terrifying to me. The average house across the country sells for about $435,000. And on any home, there can be a price value range, a swing of about 10%. If you look up any home value on Zillow and buried way down at the bottom, it's going to show that range. So I took a screenshot here. And so this was a house that was listed at the national average of $435,000. It has a value estimate of $439,000, but look here. This has a range of $44,000. So most people don't see this range that's buried way down at the bottom of Zillow. So let's call it $40,000 for discussion. So what that means is that is $40,000 that is on the table if you're in that average home price range. That's 40 grand that could be yours, or it could end up in the wallet of the person that's across the table from you. Now, of course, if your market is more expensive than average, then it's even more money that we're talking about. If your market is more like mine here in Orange County, that's almost triple the national average, then we're talking about a swing of over $100,000. So I want you to do the math in your head right now for your target price range. And this should get your attention. And this swing is for whether you're thinking about buying or selling. Either that money is yours or gone forever. So if home prices don't terrify you, then this massive swing in potential outcome definitely should. I mean, think about it. What would you do with 40 grand if you didn't have to pay a higher price to a seller? Or if a buyer offered you that much more for the home? Retirement accounts, savings accounts, a vacation, health expenses, pay off debts, an upgrade to the house you just bought, whatever it is for you, right? I think we could definitely agree it would be better for you to keep that money than to lose it, right? Put the word table for me in the chat if you understand the amount of money that is in front of you on the table as you start your real estate journey. Put the word table in the chat for me if you understand that. Table, okay. When I look to the side here, that's my Zoom, that's my monitor, and this is my iPad down here. So now that we understand how much money is on the line, let's take a step back for just a quick second and look at the journey that you're actually about to go on, okay? So let's talk about that for a second. So this is a representation of your journey. This is you right here, right now. This is where you're starting out, right? And this is where you want to get to. This is your goal, right? This is your real estate journey. And the potential costly mistakes that can be made along this process here, these are the landmines that are in the way in your journey. There are big landmines, there are small ones, there are enormous ones. There are lots of landmines, and these are the potential costly mistakes on this journey. And let's just imagine that every one of these X's here is probably a dozen different landmines. But worse than typical landmines, almost all of the landmines on a real estate journey are actually silent. Not only do you not see these landmines, you won't know when you step on them either. So you're walking down this path and you're just kind of thinking that everything is going fine, and you don't know that you're stepping on them, and you're just losing money. And this should actually be the most terrifying part. The biggest risk is never even knowing that it happened, that you lose tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was just totally off your radar, right? These are costly mistakes that are made without you realizing it, and then boom, that money is gone. So if you're buying a house, that's the house getting more expensive or losing the house altogether. Or if you're selling a house, that's losing money in your sale price, okay? That is what's on the table. Now, here's something that you probably do not want to hear from me. We just started a couple of minutes ago, but I need you to listen to this. Unless you started your real estate journey 5 seconds before hopping onto this workshop, you've almost certainly already stepped on a landmine, maybe multiple landmines. Right here, right now, there are likely exploded landmines in your rearview mirror and you didn't even know about it. Bleeding has already started. So job number 1 is for us to identify these landmines and avoid them. We absolutely have to do that. That's job number 1. Identify the landmines and avoid them. But it's not just about avoiding the landmines. Avoiding landmines is just part of it. Avoiding costly mistakes is just half of what has to happen for you to successfully get to your goal. The other half is actually the correct path around those landmines, the right shortcuts, the correct turns to recognize and then take advantages of these opportunities when they pop up. So not only do you want to avoid losing money, you want to act correctly when you can make money. And that's knowing when and where to turn left or to turn right to take the correct path. And this is what I call buying or selling a home like a pro. And this is knowing where the actual correct path is. Okay? Now, if you want to know the correct path to avoid these landmines, know how to take advantage of these opportunities when they pop up, put the word path in the chat if that's something you would want to know. Path, all right? Good, thank you. Okay, now, thank you, Gabriella. Before we get any further, by now, you definitely should be asking yourself, hey, why the hell should I listen to this guy? Who the hell are you? Those are really good questions. I would certainly be asking them. So, hi there, my name is Michael Hausam. I am a real estate broker in Southern California, and I focus mostly on Orange County. So I first got into the business right out of school 35 years ago. And over the last near decade, I have been a top 2 to 3% agent nationally from RealTrends. So everything that I'm going to be talking to you about is based on a lot of successful experience. None of this is theory. None of this is just concepts. This is current and happening right now. I literally 90 minutes before getting on this, I just put a listing of mine in escrow. So this is also, frankly, what I'm going to be talking to you about is the result of difficulties and challenges as well that I've had. In some cases, learning some very, very hard and frustrating lessons. And over all of this time, I have watched dozens and dozens of home buyers and home sellers make stupid mistakes, shoot themselves in the foot over and over. And I've just grown tired of watching good people lose money. So what I'm going to be showing you today, you are not going to find anywhere else. These are powerful concepts to make sure that you get that 40,000 or the 100,000 or whatever that number is for your price range, okay? These are the exact same ideas that I personally have spent over $100,000 on learning with mentors and coaches. And it is stuff that I'm literally applying and using every single day in my business. It's the same exact program that my Orange County clients get. And they pay me a 3% commission for this. On an average home here in Orange County, that's about $45,000 that they pay. It's also the same process. The realtors that I coach, these guys pay me $12,000 a year to teach them to use with their clients so their clients can buy or sell like a pro. These are strategies and tactics and frameworks that none of your competitors will know, nor will they be using, nor any of their real estate agents either. It is the result of a ton of money and time I've invested over the decades, so I can help my clients save big money or make big money. And that is my mission. And my guess is you're a little skeptical. You certainly have a wait and see attitude. I would feel the exact same way. So all I ask is that you please just keep an open mind for the next 45 minutes. Now, very quickly, I have two agendas for this workshop. Agenda number one, to make sure that you get the clearest and best instruction that you've ever seen on how to properly execute a real estate transaction at a pro level, to show you things that you've never seen before and that no one else will show you, so that you will know exactly what it takes to get the right house at the right price, or how to sell your house for the highest possible amount. That's agenda number one. The second agenda I've got is to sell you something. At the very end, I'm going to have an offer for you, and then you'll have two options at that point. Either take what I've already shown you, figure it out on your own, or if it makes more sense for you to pay me for me to help you, there's going to be an option for that too. Either way, you're going to win. That is the goal. And I want to make sure that you get it. And also, this has nothing to do with being your real estate broker. That is 100% off the table, okay? So please put in the chat, okay, if this is acceptable to you. All right. Good. Sorry about the water, getting over a little bit of a throat cold that maybe you can hear. Okay, thanks, Gabriella, DJ. All right. So when thinking about the correct path on the real estate journey, avoiding landmines, taking advantage of opportunities, there's actually a really big problem here that most people don't realize exists. Most home buyers and most home sellers think that the really big challenges for them are either finding the right realtor or finding the right house or timing the market or negotiating well or sifting through all of the advice that you can get online or from ChatGPT or whatever to find the right answers. But these are all just symptoms of a much bigger problem. The real problem is that almost nobody has ever been taught how to properly control the real estate journey itself and why that's so important. Because if you don't control your real estate journey, somebody or something else will. And let me give you two recent examples that kind of clarify the importance of you taking full control of your own real estate journey. So it was about a month ago. Some clients of mine saw a house, and I want to read this to you, the listing details. So this, I don't know if you can see it. This is an MLS printout from a house in Costa Mesa. I just want to read it to you real quick. So exceptionally upgraded 4-bedroom, 3-bath, boasting a beautiful curb appeal, beautifully remodeled kitchen, the inviting living room, and everything has been upgraded with newer vanities, fixtures, lighting, tile, glass enclosures, a beautifully defined outdoor entertaining space. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to own this turnkey home. That sounds great, doesn't it? But when we got there, this house was a complete mess. It was disgusting adjacent. The furniture was totally different than was in the pictures. The upgrades were at least 15 years old. They were super tired and worn out. Furthermore, it was an active substance abuse recovery home. Now, these things are super important, right? Given the world that we live in. But a heads up from the agent would have been nice. Hey, by the way, this is an active business location, substance abuse recovery home. That's what it's being used for, just heads up. But this house was such a dump and the vibe was so bad. And here's the essential point why you have to take control of your own real estate journey. The listing agent on this house is a top 10 agent in Orange County by total sales volume. There are only a few agents in Orange County that sell more houses than they do. I actually printed out from their website, their little marketing brochure. Number one realtor in this particular city for 24 straight years. Number one resale agent in Orange County for the last 5 years. $2.7 billion in lifetime sales and $275 million closed just last year. Okay, incredibly impressive. But think about the seller of this house. I'm sure this seller has no idea what a disaster their listing is, right? They hired one of the top selling agents in the country, and it's probably going to cost them 15 to 20% of the value of their home because of the way they're bringing it to market. He trusted his home sale to a top expert, and the way they're handling it is going to cost them at least $150,000 to $225,000. My clients couldn't wait to get out of that house, but he's off there somewhere, confident that he hired an expert, and he has no idea of all the money that's just hemorrhaging all over the marketplace. He delegated control of his real estate journey to a professional, and he's getting wrecked. Now, on the other hand, if this guy had just a small taste of what I'm going to be talking to you about today, it would be a totally different world. He would have been controlling his real estate journey right from the start. So now, second story, same exact point, but this is on the buying side. So last fall, I met this wonderful couple, okay? I was at an open house. They were so cute, so excited about buying their first house. Now, after chatting with me, they told me that the wife's mom had her license and she used to do a lot of real estate, okay? So they left, and then afterwards the mom called me and she joked herself about her kids almost firing her and hiring me. And then she asked me a bunch of questions about the marketplace, the approach, the various strategies and tactics, how to prepare to write a winning offer. She was basically asking for a coaching session for me on how to help her clients, her kids, to go about the right way to buy a house and to get the lowest possible price from a seller. And then she actually called me a couple of more times, including one time after they didn't get a house that they had wanted. So I looked this lady up. Now, she was a total sweetheart, okay? But I looked her up. She had years of history with a lot of sales in her Orange County transaction history. But she hasn't sold a house in almost a decade. And this was the agent that was helping them. Frankly, it broke my heart because these guys, they had no idea what to do. They had no clue on how to control their own journey to buy a house like a pro. They had put their hope into somebody that they obviously trusted, their mom, but also somebody that actually had no idea what they were doing. And given their price range at which they were looking, some seller was going to end up with at least $75,000 more than they should have. They would have, no question, overpaid for a house, right? Because these two sweet people were not in control of their real estate journey. You know, they're barely operating at an amateur level, even though they'd hired a pro. And this is the most important part. They had no idea that it was happening. Brutal. Do me a favor, put the word control in the chat if these two stories help you a little bit understand how important it is for you to be able to control your own real estate journey. Control. Yeah, yikes as well. Brutal. Okay. Now, the news is actually worse than that. I hope you're paying attention here. These two stories are not unique. They are just the tip of the iceberg. Good, Jay. These sorts of things are happening every single day, all day long, in every state, in every county, in every city across the country. And here's the reason why. The way the entire real estate industry is set up, and it has been this way for decades, the real estate industry is completely broken. And it's due to the incentives and the industry focus of the real estate business itself. So for a quick second, I'm going to peel back the curtain and explain what's going on behind the scenes for you. Here's the news flash, you guys. The real estate industry is not your friend. The sole focus of the real estate companies is to capture your business, which is your signature on the contract, and then to get the commission, and hopefully get that commission as soon as possible. That's it. That's the goal. And it's also, frankly, the goal of about 99% of all of the real estate agents out there. All of these multi-billion-dollar mergers that you may have heard about, or the national lawsuits and the billions of dollars in advertising, all of that stuff, none of it is about who has the best framework and strategies and tactics for you. It's for the signatures on the contract and the dollars of the commission, and this goes all the way down. Biggest real estate coaching event in the entire country is next month, and it's Tom Ferry's Success Summit. Let me show you. So this is it right here. This is the flyer. I just got this in my inbox, right? And there's all these notes here. New campaigns for generating leads, increase your productivity, generate income, fall in love with your business, stay ahead of the shifts, and win more market share. Do you see anything here about, oh, I didn't split the screen. Here it is. Sorry, this is the marketing thing that I got, right? This is their little flyer. Did you hear anything there about helping buyers get the lowest possible price, or training listing agents on how to get the top dollar for their listings? No, it's better ways to get your signature on a contract and increase commission rates. Okay, that's what it is. That is what it's all about. And of course, the real estate industry produces these results. It's the broken system, okay? And that's why there's this disconnect about why there's this general kind of ick feeling about real estate agents, right? It's why real estate agents rank so high on those surveys about the least respected professions in the country. Nobody trusts them, and sometimes rightly so, right? Realtors, lawyers, used car salesmen, kind of all the same animal, right? So my point here is that you need to control your own journey before you hire a realtor, or before you even think about buying or selling a house, right? Most people think that there's two ways to go about buying or selling a house. And this is the way everybody, including all of you right now, have always thought about it. Number one, you hire a realtor and hope they know what they're doing. And this is most people. Here, this is number one is hire a realtor. This is the way it's usually been done. Most people do this. You hire a realtor and then you hope, okay? The other option is to go it alone. Do it without a realtor and hope that you'll execute for yourself. And of course, fewer people take this route. This is definitely the road less traveled, but it certainly happens. But it still results in just hoping you get the right outcome. Because neither one of these things actually solves the real problem. Neither one of them teaches you how to properly control your own journey, because this system, either way, it's broken. neither one are set up to give you control. Okay? And this is what you have to confront, and this is why I created something totally new and totally different. And that is Fix My Realtor. And the great thing about Fix My Realtor is it actually doesn't matter whether you hire a real estate agent or you do it on your own. It makes no difference either way, okay? My mission is not to be anybody's realtor. It has nothing to do with that at all, but to actually help them. Independent guidance and help that is focused on them, focused on you, not focused on a contract, not focused on commission. So let me quickly tell you about how I actually discovered this, right? Because for years, I thought about everything exactly the way you have. It was years ago, one of my very best friends hired me to be his agent and sell his house up in Los Angeles, in Studio City, which we did for a record amount. And then they moved out of state and they began to hunt for a new home. But he called me. He was very frustrated. He was very upset because he didn't really know how to go about it at any level of expertise other than just going out looking at houses, hoping to find one that he liked, right? And he was also really disappointed with all the real estate agents he'd met. He basically felt like they were amateurs and they were basically just Uber drivers with a lockbox key, trying to get a contract and trying to get a commission. So he calls me and he's pissed off. And he says, dude, you just showed me all of these strategies and tactics to get top dollar for my house. We totally killed it. But now there's not one agent that has even hinted at me to do anything like this to help me save money to go about buying a house the correct way. There's not been a word about this. So he asked me if I could help him to show him exactly the strategies and tactics to use out of the area so that he could get the very best possible price. So that's exactly what we did. First of all, I helped him understand all the various things necessary to control his own journey to buy a house like a pro. And then throughout the process, looking for houses, identifying the right house, and then buying one, and then all the way through the close, I was walking through this entire journey with him. I was his private guide and mentor, helping him maintain control, make good decisions, identify all the landmines, the right shortcuts, and execute all the way along the way. So what happened then is exactly what we intended. And frankly, it was so much fun. He ended up saving about 70 grand on an $800,000 house, 70 grand less than his agent told him was possible because he was playing a different game. And that was this new third way. And it wouldn't have mattered what realtor he hired. In fact, he actually had some conflict with that agent. And this is something that comes up from time to time. The agent was pushing back against some of the things that he wanted to do. So I basically, I helped him basically grab this realtor by the collar to get him to operate at a higher level, and it worked, just like it works every other time. So this is how Fix My Realtor started. This is the new third way to help people control their own journey and fight this broken system of just hoping that they're being guided correctly. To literally be with them all the way along as these landmines or opportunities pop up so they know exactly what to do. Put the number 3 in the chat if this new third way makes sense, that you should take control, that you should know how to make this journey. Put the number 3 in the chat. All right, good. Thank you, DJ. So, great. All that sounds wonderful. How do you do it? How do you control your own journey, Jose? Well, what you need to do is you need to know what to do, when to do it, and then how to do it. So the framework that I use and teach has two different parts. The first part is a system or a process, and this is basically the map or the GPS, okay? So this is the first part here. This is a system or a process the map. Because what I typically see is folks and their agents, they're just kind of working by feel, right? Or let's just see what happens, or just kind of make things up as they go along. You don't do it this way. You don't do it by guessing, and you don't do it by reacting to what comes up. You do it by having a system. Here's an example of that. A few years ago, I had surgery on my left shoulder, right? And when I showed up at this doctor's office, they had a system. The doctor explained to me every single step along the way, exactly what's going to be happening, why it was going to be happening, who's going to be doing what, when they were going to do it. And obviously, for this cat, it's a process that he just repeats over and over and over. And of course, there are variations. There are things that come up. Some people have bone spurs and other people have rotator cuff damage or whatever. But all of these possibilities, they're all thought through in advance with specific solutions in place for each of those possibilities. So what happened is him having this system and explaining it to me step by step, it was so reassuring. I knew that I was in the very best of hands because he was prepared. And it is the exact same thing with houses for buying a house the correct way. And this goes whether it's an entry-level condo or a basic family home or some full-on high-end luxury property. If you have the right process and the right system and the right map, you're going to get to that correct destination every single time. And it can be illustrated like this. This is what I use. This is my home buyer program here. My home buyer program, my home seller program. This here is part of every single consult I have when I'm interviewing with the potential client to help them save a bunch of money or to make a bunch of money, buying or selling. And it's the visual for every single thing we're going to do. And there's two parts here. The top part is every single thing that we're going to do. All the various activities, what needs to get done, every single step along the way to avoid the landmines and to be ready for the opportunities. This is the literally the roadmap for controlling the journey to buy or sell like a pro. This is the what right here. So this is the system or process. The first part of it is the what. It's mapping out what to do and then the sequence of them. That's the first part of it. And then the second part of it, that's this little piece down here. And that is actually mapping it onto your own timeline. And this is where you're going to list out all of the important milestones of when these activities need to be done based upon your own timing goals. And this is the when part of it. The when. Having this type of framework for the journey, the map and the sequence of events to your timeline is critical. Because when you do this and you do it correctly, this is how you avoid the landmines and the costly mistakes. So that's this part here. Okay? Does that make sense? Are you tracking with the importance of a system or a process to begin this? Put the word system in the chat if that makes sense. All right, good. Thank you. Switch back there. Also, just another thing. So far, have you already learned something that you didn't know before? Or this has been helpful so far? Put the word yes so I know. Yeah, good. Okay, great. Thank you. Let's keep going. So the next questions. So we now have the what and the when. What about the how? What goes into this framework, right? And what are the specific mechanics? And these hows, to be at a pro level, these have to be strategies and tactics that are unique, that are effective, and that are essential to the outcome. They have to be things that nobody else is doing. They have to be things that no other agents know. Because if they're not unique, then they're average, and then you're just going to get average results. So for my surgery, right? The doctor, when he walked through his how, he gave me a detailed explanation of his specific mechanics, right? He had this new arthroscopic method, how it worked, why it was totally different, and why it was better than all the other surgeons in Orange County. And this right here is where the rubber really meets the road. At the difference between how most people are going about the journey at an average level, your competition, and those that control it to get a pro level outcome. And here's what you need. You need a recipe, and you need a recipe with exceptional ingredients. This is the second part of it. You need a recipe, and you need exceptional ingredients. Exceptional ingredients. And just like any recipe, I use that phrase on purpose. You have to use every single ingredient, okay? You have to use them in the exact quantities and in the exact sequence. Like any recipe. If you're baking and you just don't put in the sugar, or you triple the amount of flour that you're going to use, your cookies are going to be awful. But awful cookies aren't that big of a deal. You just throw them out. But an incorrect recipe or no recipe at all when you're buying or selling a house, this can make an enormous difference. And this is the how. And in a real estate transaction, an enormous difference, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars if you're not doing it the right way. So this is on the recipe. This is the how. We've got the how, the what, and the when. So the first concept for this idea of a recipe is positioning. And this is what I mean by that. From positioning, almost all of the other ingredients that are required are downstream from it. If you're a home seller, your house is your product, and positioning your product is essential. If you're a buyer, you're the product. Positioning yourself as the buyer is essential as well. And this is what I mean by it, and this is why it's crucial. Imagine that if I spent a ton of money and I bought my wife an extremely expensive piece of jewelry, and then I took it and then I just wadded it up in a plastic grocery bag and I tossed it to her when I walked into the house. And I said, "Here you go, babe, love you." Threw it at her. Another scenario, imagine I bought a far less expensive gift. But in this case, I waited until the kids went to bed. I lit a few candles around our little outside sitting area. I opened up a bottle of wine, and then I presented it to her with a beautifully wrapped gift box with a card, with a long note that told her all the things about her that I loved, how I'd marry her all over again in a second. Well, if I did that, which one of those two would have the better effect on her? The second one, by a mile, right? It has nothing to do with the gift. It has to do with the positioning. And all of the various parts of that second option there, those were ingredients in that recipe to position it right. And the critical part of this requires work to be done way in advance. Planning and setting everything up for giving her that gift, it's all carefully thought through first. One of the most important things that you can do as a buyer is to control how a seller and a listing agent are going to perceive you, how they're going to perceive your agent, and how they're going to perceive your offer. That is your positioning. And then on the selling side, it's the same thing. Positioning of your home. That determines how buyers are going to perceive it and their expectations of what it is going to cost to buy that house. It has to be planned, strategic, and executed just right. Just like when you're cooking from a recipe. An example I use of this is a pair of shoes. You can get the exact same pair of shoes at Nordstrom Rack, or at a garage sale. Exact same pair of shoes. Totally different positioning and a totally different price. So now there are 6 essential ingredients for the home buyer journey, and there are 8 essential ingredients for the home seller journey. These are the specific steps of when you're going to be turning left or turning right, or when you're going straight. Okay, the 6 buyer ingredients and the 8 seller ingredients, that is how we get to here. The ingredients to the recipe is that part, okay? It's the correct path all the way to the end to your goal, either the lowest possible purchase price or the highest possible selling price. So let me show you what these recipes are. So for the buyer recipe, we've got buyer staging, practicing the contract, a surprising deposit, contingency management, offer presentation, and crystallization. And then on the seller side, we've got steak and sizzle, staging and preparation, the seller sets the price, expanded marketing, offer presentation, buyer agent incentives, appraisal confrontation, and no dual agency. Now, the overview and the thinking behind both of these different recipes and all of their ingredients, it comes down to the basic challenge that every home buyer and home seller has, and that is to confront all of the unknowns. This is the whole point of it. It's the unknowns. The unknowns that are important to the other side of the table, whether it's a buyer you're dealing with or a home seller and their agents. All of these various different things. Timing goals, previous experience, their real motivations, their outside influence. There's a million other things that we do not know that are going on with the potential buyer of your house or the potential seller of the house you want. You have no idea what those things are. So what happens is these recipe ingredients are for all of these potential unknowns that are unique, that they're different, they're beyond expectations, and they're pro levels above what any of your competitors are going to be doing. Delia, that is a really great question. What is buyer staging? Hold on to that question, because at the very end, if you still have that as a question, I'm happy to answer that. Buyer staging is one of my very favorite. So that's the point. When all of these recipe ingredients, when they stack up on top of one another, they end up being multiple angles of attack on all of these potential unknowns. And they increase pressure. And they further separate you from your competition and from what is normally expected. And the key about it is that none of them are random. It's all intentional and it's all planned. And they work. This is where a buyer or seller's certainty about their price, when all of these things line up and that pressure is applied, that's where their certainty starts to become flexible. And that is where that money flow, that 40 grand or the 100 grand or whatever the number is, that's where it starts to flow towards you, because all of these unknowns get chipped away by the recipe ingredients. That's the way it works. Now, every state has slightly different contracts and rules. Of course, I'm aware of that. But the general architecture and the overall intent are basically the same. And all of these ingredients translate to every single marketplace. And this is how folks in different states across the country can all run the same Fix My Realtor program and still have such incredible results. So I want to highlight one of these real quick, one of these recipe ingredients. It's an essential ingredient that works on the buyer and the seller side, and it has to do with the offers themselves. So one of the recipe ingredients is to radically change the offer and the negotiation environment itself. The vast majority of offer presentation nowadays are done via an email. PDFs are emailed on the phone back and forth basically by robots. So I think that as a buyer, you should do everything you can to submit your offer in person. And as a seller, you should do everything you can to require home buyers and their agents to show up at your house and present their offers in person. So that's this here. My recipe ingredient on both is totally different than anything that happens in the marketplace. My guess is that very few of you have even heard of this being done before, doing offers in person, let alone that it is a powerful ingredient to get pro-level results. And here's the reason why. It is a far superior negotiating environment with better chances to make financial gain, number one. Also, there's a potential magic that can happen in person that is totally impossible if you're just trading in PDFs on an email. Because most transactions, not all of them, but most of them, residential real estate becomes very personal. It becomes very emotional. And doing an in-person offer can push that button. Last week, I had an in-person offer meeting set at a listing of mine in Anaheim. And the night before, so this is a week ago Tuesday, I was talking to both of the buyer's agents. And I was explaining this process that they have to present their offer in person. Neither of these agents had ever heard of it before, despite the fact that this is the way it used to be done way back in the day before email. After less than 5 minutes of conversation, both of these agents loved the idea, and let me tell you why. The first agent explained that she and her clients had tried to buy a house 2 weeks previous, right? It took them a week of back and forth emails with all of the counters and all of the time just to process. And the whole thing just felt wrong. By the time they got the final counteroffer from the seller, they were so frustrated with the whole thing, they just decided to move on. The second agent, she explained last week that her clients had submitted an offer about a month earlier on a house, and the listing agent never even responded to them. They submitted a full price offer, and they never even heard back. In both of those cases, the way those listing agents were handling those offers drove those buyers away. And let's just imagine in both of those cases, even if the buyers did get those houses, how would their attitude be? How would their disposition be at the beginning of the process? So doing offers in person, it's not just about getting the initial contract signed. It actually sets the stage for the rest of the transaction. It's a totally different world. Nobody does this. And there are actually even more benefits. On the buyer's side, what it does for you as a home buyer, presenting your offer in person keeps everything quick, easy, and honest. If you're there in person, you've got your pen and your paper right there. If the seller's wanting to play games or shop your offer around or do something dirty, it immediately gets exposed. And as a seller, what it does for you is it eliminates all the time wasters. It's super easy for somebody to email you a half-assed offer. It takes 90 seconds to put an offer together on a phone. But if I've got to get out of my pajamas, off my couch, drive over to your house to meet you, I'm only going to do that if I'm actually serious about buying your house. And you only want to deal with serious buyers. It's a perfect filter. I cannot count the number of times that another agent has told me that an in-person offer meeting, the one that we just had, was the best experience of their career, including last Wednesday. And it's happened on the buy side and the sell side. And it even happens when a deal doesn't go together. Last Wednesday, we sold that house. It took us less than 45 minutes to do a multiple offer in person. Afterwards, the buyer's agent that didn't get the house, she called me and told me it was the best experience she'd ever had of a multiple offer, even though her guys didn't get it, which is exactly how you want to go about selling a house at a pro level. So let me give you one quick final story. Let me look at the time here. One quick final story that kind of mixes two of these topics today. The performance and the reputation of realtors and the incentives that they have in this broken system. And then another recipe ingredient here to buy like a pro. And this one is about practicing the contract. So I'm going to give you another story about this particular recipe ingredient. And this is designed to show you how an unseen landmine that these people were not even aware of could have been potentially catastrophic to them, and how just one recipe ingredient can avoid that altogether. And again, this is another recipe ingredient that nobody else uses. So here's what happened. I had a buyer consult with folks, and I was walking through my entire system with them, right? I'm interviewing with the chance to be their realtor. And they were super resistant. They were super skeptical about realtors in general. Of course, I don't blame them, right? And then they told me what they'd been doing is they were trying to buy houses by going directly to the listing agent to get them to represent them as well, thinking that would get them kind of an insider track and save them some money. Now, this can be a smart move if you know how to control the process and what it takes to do to buy like a pro. Then that can be a smart way to go about it. These guys didn't. So they've been in escrow on a house, actually. Signed contract in escrow, but that deal fell apart because there was a disagreement about a repair on some plumbing problems in the house. So now we're sitting there and we're going through the consultation, and I'm walking them through all the various different recipe ingredients. Then we get to this one about the purchase contract. So what I asked them to do is to pull up on their phone the offer paperwork when they wrote the offer. Now, this is something that I do all the time when possible, because I know that as soon as I see that thing, immediately I'm going to be able to quickly identify amateur level moves and to show them in black and white landmines that they had stepped on. Sure enough, it happened in this particular case. But I actually discovered a catastrophic problem. In the section, I'm going to pull out this contract here. This is the California contract. I'm not going to go through it. So in the section here on page 3, this is allocation of costs, right? All this entire section is who pays for all the various different costs. So in this section of the contract, the listing agent, who was also their agent as well, remember, they had filled it out in such a way that the buyers were going to be responsible for all of the seller's transaction costs. All of them. And when I pointed this out to them, they were immediately defensive. No. This guy was awesome. We totally trusted him. He worked so hard to make sure that it was a good deal, that it was a fair deal for everyone. He was kind of the neighborhood guy. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. We totally loved him. And I'm like, maybe, but just look. Right here. And I walked him through this thing. Had this deal gone through, it would have cost them an additional $14,000. They couldn't believe it. And they had no idea. None. And this was just one recipe ingredient. 14 grand. They had absolutely no idea. Now, the reality is, this recipe ingredient's not rocket science. It just needs to be identified and followed. Box that check. Check that box, rather. It's actually so easy and simple, but nobody does it. All of these ingredients, the 6 on the buyer side, the 8 on the seller side, they're not complicated. Some of them just take a couple of minutes to do. It's just having awareness of them, knowing the few simple things required so that you can just check those boxes. But because they're all about things that are unknown, they could be very important. And in this journey, very important, that's tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. And very few buyers or sellers or their agents ever even do them. And when they stack together, that's how the combined effect moves that needle to the entirety of that 10% price swing. It's the cumulative effect of all of them that has the real power. This is why, in order to have certainty about the results of your real estate journey, you're the one that has to be in control. You're the one that has to know exactly how and where and why and when each step should be taken. Otherwise, the possibility for cost of the mistakes and the missed opportunities, it's just too high. And most consumers have never heard about this stuff. They've never even considered it before. So I want to show you really quickly a couple of quick things that some folks have said about this system that I've just described to you. These are people who ended up in control so they could buy or sell a house like a pro. Let me show you real quickly. Okay, this is Mark Smith. This guy was in Houston. I just want to highlight here real fast. Sold a few homes in my lifetime. This was by far the best experience. Joseph, this was a home buyer. System works like magic. James, this is the home seller. You can see this. Getting us the maximum payout within our time frame. Ray, this was a buyer. His approach was certainly unique. None of this programs compares, right? Just real quickly, and let me also show you, this is a guy that's done multiple programs.
Hausam and I have done 3 transactions in the last 24 months. Guy helped me sell 2 houses and a purchase in the middle. The reality is I wouldn't have been able to pull off any of the transactions without Mike. I wouldn't have felt as secure in all the transactions. We were able to get on both the buying and the selling side the best deal possible with the best terms because of how Mike was able to walk through the process of buying and selling real estate. Guy's a total pro, could not be happier with his services, and can't wait to buy more houses with him.
Okay, so let's quickly review here. In fact, I'm going to split this back. Let's quickly review the points that we've made here and talked about today. Number one, there is a lot of potential money on the table. Oops, I went too far. Sorry, here we go. Number one is point number one that we reviewed today, lots of potential money on the table. And then next we discussed why the traditional real estate system isn't aligned or incentivized to help you get the best results, and that there is another option. So the second thing we talked about is that the system is broken, and there's a third option, and that is Fix My Realtor. And then the only way to actually do it successfully is to control your own real estate journey to buy or sell a house like a pro. This is you to control your journey to buy or sell like a pro. And then the way to do that, to achieve the results you want, to reach that goal, is you have to have a system or a framework to guide you, and then you have to have effective recipe ingredients that nobody else is using in your marketplace. So that's the other part, is that you need to have a system and you need to have a recipe. These are the four things that we covered. So now you know this is the right way to continue your real estate journey to get the results you want, to make sure that that 40 grand or the 75 grand or the 100 grand, whatever, to make sure that that's yours, that it doesn't end up on the other side of the table. So now with this, there's kind of two ways that you can go. You can take the information that I've shown you, the notes that you're going to get here in a few minutes, and you go do it on your own. Take your own time, your own effort, your own energy. Take the stuff that you've learned in the last 85 minutes or so and try to do it yourself. Or we could go at it together. How would you like it if I could help you with this throughout the rest of your entire journey to make sure that you get the right house at the lowest price, or that you sell your house for the highest possible price? This is the second option. And it's not just me telling you how, but also doing it with you. And the point of it would be to give you every possible advantage, every shortcut that I have, to not just help you win, but to actually make sure that you win. To not just give you some information, wish you luck, but to actively work with you all the way along from start to finish. And if you've been paying attention here, you've noticed a pattern. Every mistake, every landmine, every story, every ingredient in the recipe, they all point to the same thing. People that achieve the best outcomes are the people that understand how to control their own real estate journey. So this is why I created the buyers and the sellers advantage. I want you to have the advantage to help and make sure that you take control of your real estate journey to buy or sell like a pro. And let me be clear on the outcomes that you could expect, the results from this buyers and sellers advantage program. So for home buyers, it's the right house. This is the outcome, the goal. The right house at the lowest possible price. I should say that. Lowest possible price. That is the outcome of this program for you as a home buyer. As a home seller, the goal to sell your home with the highest possible net proceeds. Net proceeds is the money you get when it's all said and done. And for both of them, they have to be done within the time frame that works for your life while avoiding the costly mistakes and taking advantage of the opportunities. So all these outcomes have to be done in the right time frame to avoid the costly mistakes, and to take advantage of opportunities. This is what you need, and this is the outcome for the Buyers and Sellers Advantage Program. Every single thing in these Advantage programs is designed to help you know how exactly to accomplish these outcomes, and so that you also have a guide with you on the entire journey. So I'm going to tell you about two of the tools that I've developed to help you get these results. The first one is a complete how to buy a house like a pro implementation framework. Number one, it's the operating system. And the operating system is the how-to. This is the first part of it, okay? It's a complete reference library that you'll get. It's the recipes, the ingredients, all the strategies, the details with the lessons and the instructions. This one thing here is valuable because it literally doesn't exist anywhere else. And this operating system is designed to completely change the way you think about and approach your real estate journey in 10 days. This part, it's 10 days, start to finish. Most people spend months searching Zillow, talking to agents, watching YouTube videos, and they still don't know how to control the journey. My goal is different. In the next 10 days, I want to completely change the way that you think about buying or selling a home. In 10 days, I want you to understand the journey, the landmines, the opportunities, the system, and the recipe. And then, after that first 10 days, for the rest of the journey is when I'm going to help you implement it. The second part of the program is the implementation so that you're not doing it alone. And this is the support piece. And there's a private community for this. So let me tell you about that. It's a private community for other folks that are on this exact same journey. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, instant access, questions, discussion items, getting help. I'm obviously going to be involved in it constantly every day, guiding discussions, answering questions throughout the entire journey. And the benefit to this is there are other people on different parts of their journey, and this interaction with them will also be helpful. So it's not just an education how-to, but it's active help all along the way when you need it. If you're buying or selling a home that's in a $500,000, $750,000, $1 million price range, right? As I said before, certainly one of the largest transactions of your life. And as we've discussed, there's a 10% swing that can be on the table for every single home purchase and every single home sale. That's okay, Gabriella. Sorry that you've got to go. So what happens here is that there's a $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 potential range, or 10% of your number. So this is the range here. We've got $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, or whatever your amount is. Okay, so that's the first piece. The second part is that most people are going to be paying a real estate commission to an agent, and then just kind of hope that that real estate agent performs at a pro level. So for the sake of this discussion, let's assume it's at 2.5%. Let's assume you're going to pay a real estate agent 2.5%. So you've got a $15,000 real estate commission at a $500,000 house. You've got an $18,000 commission if it's a $750,000 house, or $25,000 on a $100,000 house, or unknown depending on your price range. Okay, this is how much this is worth to you, This is 15 to 25 grand or more, okay? In these three price ranges, this is the amount of money that is potentially on the table for you. This is how much it's worth if you don't control your own journey. This is an incredible amount of money. And these aren't hypothetical numbers. How much this is the value of your real estate journey here, the potential swing. It's not hypothetical. I just told you today about that $14,000 mistake those folks make, a $70,000 savings on a purchase that my buddy made, and then another seller here that's losing 150 to 225 grand because of poor execution. This right here is what you're up against. This is the amount of potential money at risk if you're not the one controlling your journey. Because in the old way of doing things, you're just left hoping and trusting things go your way. But hoping and trusting isn't the reliable strategy to guarantee the outcome you want. So the question then is, how much would it be worth it for you to change the journey path and take control? Looking at how much money is at risk here, there should certainly be an urgency to do something about it at this point, right? Most people spend $0 learning how to do it because there's never been another option. There is an option. And the option is the Fix My Realtor Buyer and Seller's Advantage program. And here's what the investment is. It's $1,995. But I'm actually still building out this operating component section right here. And I'm offering an early access discount down to $1,495 as an investment while I'm still building it out. Or you can do it as 4 equal payments of $385. And then you can add the other one, if you can do the buyer or the seller advantage program for the early access of $1,495, or for additional $475, you can do both. But before you make a decision about this, there are actually 2 more things that are included. Let me tell you about those quickly after I tell you what the investment was. The third component is a live Q&A discussion, mentoring and coaching with me. It is a meeting on Zoom just like this to support you. And that's this. More support is it's live coaching guidance. It's a Zoom meeting just like we're on right now, okay? This is more implementation help in real time to make sure that you are controlling your journey all the way along, to make sure that I'm helping you get the lowest possible price when you're buying or the highest possible price when you're selling. It's literally me, my sleeves rolled up alongside of you, live, direct help in real time all the way through your real estate journey. That's the third part of it. It's the necessary piece, in my opinion, to fully take you from hoping and uncertainty to taking control of your real estate journey. Of course, there will be permanently posted replays of all of the coaching sessions so that you can watch and rewatch them with the topics that maybe other people are going through. But you can show up live, raise your hand, ask me for help about what's going on with you, literally right then and there. It's the practical application piece. I'm the Sherpa helping you on that journey up to the goal, right? The mountaintop. And the next coaching session is actually tonight. It's 2.5 hours from now is the next coaching session. So you could actually be on that call 2.5 hours from now. And then there's a fourth component, and that's written here under technology. And what this is, it's the Fix My Realtor AI It's the Fix My Realtor AI GPT that I've developed. There's a home buyer, Ask Michael AI, and a home seller, Ask Michael AI. I took a 5-page prompt and I pulled every single interaction that I've had with my chat over the last year. And then I compiled and notated all of the transcripts from every single one of my YouTube videos, all of the Advantage program lessons, literally every single thing that I've ever done to feed into this Ask Michael AI. And then I ran it through a bunch of tests. It's the only one, the readiness assessment that you took. My wife didn't pass it. The Ask Michael AI is the only one that has ever passed and aced that readiness assessment past me. And it is a standard part of the Advantage program. No extra cost to it. You can't buy it separately. It's not in any other program. My real estate clients don't get it. My coaching clients don't get it. It's only people in the Fix My Realtor Advantage programs. And you can think of this like an insurance policy. You look at all of the risk here that is on the table, and the insurance policy premium is right there. If you had a $65,000 car to insure, you couldn't do it for that. Or especially a $125,000 car, you couldn't insure it. And that's what the Fix My Realtor Advantage program is designed to be. It's the investment to make sure that all of it is controlled by you, so you have the advantage. So there's 4 parts to it, right? It's the operating system reference library. That's how you get completely up to speed in 10 days. Rather than just a summary that I went through here, you literally get these and all of the everything, okay? So you know how to control your journey to buy like a pro. It's the private community. It's instant discussion, feedback, and support, live coaching, and then the Ask Michael AI. And as I mentioned, the early access price is because I'm rebuilding the reference library port. It's about 90% built out right now. There are already 10 lessons in both programs, and the price is going to be going up every week. I basically have a couple of more lessons to finish, but it's going to end up back at the $19.95, but you're basically getting in early. Furthermore, I'm so committed to making sure that you control this journey that you're on, and I'm so confident in the results that you're going to get. I have a more than money back guarantee. This makes it risk-free for you because it's not just money back. I will give you your money back plus 50% for your time. The guarantee makes it so simple and removes all of the risk of that investment that might be in your mind. If in the first month you jump in, engage with the lessons, do the homework, get involved with the community, do the live coaching, and you still feel like it's not working out and that it is not so much more valuable than what you paid, I'll give you all your money back plus 50%. And then there's another bonus too. As I mentioned, I'm building these lessons out. But what I do is I build them out on a live stream, just like this. I do the lesson teaching on a live stream, and then there's a live Q&A to follow. The next ones are tomorrow afternoon. I have a buyer's lesson live stream tomorrow afternoon with the Q&A on all of the topics in that lesson or anything else. And then there's also one for the sellers. Because one of the things that's critical for me about this is that these Advantage programs be a true shortcut for you. Quick, easy, not complicated to go from where you are now to being in control, fully equipped to buy or sell like a pro. So there's no messing around. It literally starts right now. There's too much money on the line to just slowly stroll through it. Okay, I'm basically doing is I'm trying to make it impossible for you to say no to my offer to help you. If you would like my help doing this the right way, go to advantage.fixmyrealtor.com, which is this. That's the web address. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. And I'll get to your question, Delia. That's the website to go to. Okay, you can go there right now. And what you're going to see when you go to the website. So this is the initial landing page right here. The buyer's advantage, the seller's advantage. And then scrolling further down goes over all four aspects. The live coaching, the reference library, the community itself, plus the Fix My Realtor AI. So this is everything you're getting to help you get the results. And there is the short video that you saw at the beginning, my past clients. There's a little bit of an explanation. And then you pick which one you want. This is the offer doc. The buyer's advantage, seller's advantage, or both. And you'll see that right when you go to the website. I'm super interested in people that want help right away. That's the way I make sure that I'm helping people that want help and in the community. So here's what happens next after that. What happens next is you'll immediately get an email with the login for the community. There's a quick welcome video in the community itself with instructions on what to do. And you can immediately take advantage of the lessons that are there, the operating guide reference library. You can be in this afternoon's coaching. There's going to be a link to that. There's also a link to tomorrow's lessons. You'll get an email for the Fix My Realtor AI GPTs. It's super simple that you can literally elevate to a higher level just minutes from now. Tonight's coaching session, tomorrow's live stream and Q&A. And I actually just had somebody, if you do the buyers program, you'll see in there's a guy named Earl. Okay. Earl joined, it's probably 6 or 7 weeks ago. I have to look it up and see. Anyway, Earl had been searching for a house since last fall. But one of the concepts that's in the reference library that he saw was something that he had never considered before. Neither had his agent. He had hired, he was working with the highest selling agent in his town that was referred to him by his mortgage guy. He had never mentioned that recipe ingredient either. So Earl, from the program, took the information on the recipe ingredient, he worked it into his own plan and timeline. Earl's in escrow and he's moving into a new house in a few weeks. He told me this, you can ask him about it if you're in there. It was 10 times as valuable to him than his investment into the program. There may be some lingering questions for you right now. As you're sitting here thinking about this, maybe I've never heard anything like this before. How do I know this is legitimate? Well, you haven't heard of it because it has never existed before. It's never existed with me for the vast majority of the time that I've been in this business. There has never been a standard for helping buyers and sellers independently control their journey and operate at an expert level. It's never, ever happened before. And that's what this program is designed to do. It's designed to fill that gap that exists in the marketplace. Because I guarantee you, nobody at my brokerage or any brokerage that you might choose, if you hire a realtor, nobody there is thinking about your journey in any other way than just trying to get you to sign a contract and to get your commission dollars. And you might thinking, what if I don't do it right? Or I can't do it, right? It's too complicated, whatever. Well, see, that's why this exists. You're not expected to figure this out on your own. This isn't buy my book, watch my video, and good luck to you. It's actually giving you the structure, giving the exact approach, and then direct access for me to guide you all the way through it. I'm with you on the entire journey. We approach the landmines and the opportunities together. Nobody starts out like a pro, but the advantage programs turn you into one. And then the last question, this is common that may be in your head. Do I really need this? It's the most important question of all. It depends on what you want. You can go out and buy or sell a house today. No question. Anybody can do that. It's not rocket science. There have been people buying and selling houses since we started this thing 90 minutes ago. But if you want to control your own journey, to make sure that you're not overpaying as a buyer, to make sure that you're not leaving money on the table as a seller, or that you're not making mistakes that you can't undo, and that you want to take maximum advantage of every single opportunity, and you don't want to have to figure out all of that on your own and get a shortcut to doing it, then you do need this. You've seen examples here of people that had the same two options, do it on their own or to get help. They chose to get help and they killed it. This is the way so that you can control your own real estate journey to buy or sell a house like a pro.
I've lived in 10 different states. And so I've conducted a lot of real estate transactions, and I have to tell you the finest real estate professional that I've ever run across is Michael Hausam. He's helped me with 5 different transactions. The one that really comes to mind is a service that I'm not sure you're going to find from anyone. I was needing to sell an investment condo that I had in Boston while living in California. He not only helped me find a local broker there, but he also helped me with the kind of working with him remotely to get a quick sale at a good price. Just unbelievable service, and can't recommend him enough. I've referred him to at least 3 other people, and he's done a great job for them. And I think of him as the real estate whisperer.
So as a first-time home buyer, I felt pretty overwhelmed and didn't exactly know where to start. Michael is a great advisor in helping me navigate the path from choosing the right agent to dealing with a mortgage broker, all the way through closing on a home. He really helped me understand the process and how it should work, and the things that I need to be doing and look out for, and also the things that I should avoid. And having him as my advisor, essentially my consultant and not just a realtor, was incredibly helpful. And I recommend that anyone doing a real estate transaction would greatly benefit from having him on your team.
A few years ago, my wife and I made the move from Los Angeles to Arizona, and we needed to sell our house in a fairly quick manner. Michael helped us through that process in just a tremendously wonderful way. He walked us through the way the market was. He helped us balance the offers we were being given. He helped us set up our home for sale to get the most we could from it. And most importantly, he never pressured us to actually take any deals, and would always help us consider the pros and cons of every offer we were given. On the flip side of that, as we moved to Phoenix, he helped us remotely, first by finding us a wonderful realtor here in Phoenix, but also during that process, advising us as we were buying our home. I can't recommend anyone more highly than I do Michael. He really was tremendous on both sides of our real estate transactions, on selling our home, as well as helping us buy a home in Phoenix, where he really wasn't getting anything out of it other than the joy of helping a former or current or forever client. I highly recommend him. Thank you.